a delve idea, and Blake done some prep for us, which is great. As a reminder, we are playing Ironsworn with the Delve expansion. We are playing co-op, so let's call that GM full. We all get to sort of play GM for a bit. I've never done this before. I'm excited to do it. I'd like to record. It is already recording. Is that okay with everyone? Recording okay?
Yep.
Excellent. And I will ask at the end whether we can post it to my YouTube channel. So let's just talk safety tools real fast. Normally, I use 3 safety tools in the games that I run. Those are open table. Anyone can get up and walk away at any time. If you can set our expectations about when and if you're coming back, that's great. Second is X card. We'll potentially be using a dice roller. We can X card. You can always say X card or hold your hands up or type an X into the chat. X card means you want to stop the narrative, erase what we just talked about, rewind, and redirect the narrative. If you can indicate what you're X carding, that would also be helpful, but it is not necessary. And last is lines and veils. I believe we have a safety and resources tab in our character keeper. I see 4 people in the character keeper, but I will post the link to the chat anyway. And we have a bunch of topics highlighted there. Lines indicate topics that we are not going to broach in this. Veils indicate topics that we can identify, we can mention, but we will not describe them in great detail. Ask first are topics that maybe we do feel comfortable with, but we should ask the table if that is okay.
Can I just clarify, for racism, you're talking about like elves are lazy, giants are dumb sort of thing in the context of a fictional?
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary. Like if we're going to make vast generalizations about a character based on their race, that seems not cool. Or species, that seems not cool. So let's ask first if those, I will be surprised if it comes up. That's what I got. Any other safety tools we want to use or talk about? All right. I've not played this before. I don't really know how to get started. Maybe we should do some, since it's been a couple of weeks, reintroduce our characters just to do that. And then we can start to maybe kick around some ideas for how we're going to get into this particular delve, which we decided was a wild sea cave. So we can go in character keeper order. Blake, you want to introduce us to Kynan?
Sure. Hi, I'm Blake, he, him. I'm playing Keenan, whatever. He, him. He's kind of an archer. Just going by his appearance. Yeah, wants to make some funds and explore the world and make this area safer.
And you identified a bond, or not a bond, forgive me, a vow, a defining vow for him. You want to tell us a little bit about set his uncle's spirit to rest?
Yeah, I think he's been having dreams about his uncle didn't die in battle, or his uncle's spirit hasn't gone on to the netherworld or whatever. So he's been having occasional dreams about it, maybe during full moons or eclipses or weird astronomical events. And so, yeah, he's going to try and find out more about where his uncle died and do what he needs to do to fix that up. But that's going to take some time. It's not going to be in the next town.
Perfect. That sounds great. Bethany.
Yeah. So I am playing, what was the name again? Torin. I'm actually, okay, yeah. So Torin is, was until fairly recently a farmer, learned to use a spear, mostly, defending livestock, and had an older sibling who decided that they wanted to travel between villages because they met somebody who sort of inspired them with stories about the world outside of their village. And kind of got dragged into it. um, and then kind of got killed somehow by some mistake that Torin made that, at least contributed to it. Um, and is now a ghost and kind of holds a grudge about that whole accidental death thing. But like, Torin is still family, so they'll still help him out. My vow is, I wrote it down. It is, I'm staring at it before. Yes. Yeah. Torin wants to provide for his grandfather in his old age, since like he is the only one left of his generation, and his grandfather is getting old and is probably not going to be able to keep up this farm much longer.
Josh, you're next. Henny.
Yeah, of course. I'm playing Henian. Henian is he's sort of a traveling devotee of the god Nikun. Nikun is a god of wits. Nikun is a clever god. Nikun sanctifies mammoths, apparently, I think we can say. Henian has traveled across the Ironlands for some time, generally just sort of on trade routes, not really in the dangerous parts. He has a staff that he walks with, that he is vicious with, if you get within range. And when he does not want to walk, he rides on the back of his mammoth, Bashtu, which he was gifted by the giant convert to Nikun's religion that he met many, many winters ago, like 15 winters ago, I think we said. The giant Khatir. And my vow is that I must repay Khatir for his invaluable gift. Because 15 winters ago, Khatir gave me the mammoth Bashtu, and I've had him ever since, and he's wonderful.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. Katir is the name of the giant. Joel, you are up. Tell us about Nadira.
Yeah, I am playing Nadira. She is not, she's very like kind of sneaky and sharp-eyed and stuff like that, and kind of tends to be more quiet and stay at like the back of the room just observing people. I remember she is a cutthroat and infiltrator, so just your stereotypical edgelord character, but then she's also an herbalist. She had learned from Amara, an elderly medicine woman, kind of about herbs after Nadira got herself in a mishap and kind of poisoned herself. So she learned how to like make antidotes and stuff like that. She also grew up in the Whispering Willows, which is a free-spirited community where she learned how to dance and kind of be very light on her feet. And that's a community that relies on, other nearby communities for protection and to kind of like, they can't really fend for themselves. And then there's also Moral, clan chief of a nearby clan, who's kind of paid Nadira to spy for her. So kind of like we'll go to them for work sometimes. And her vow, the big thing that she's trying to work towards, is to help the Whispering Willows flourish and kind of be safe and self-sustaining more.
Fantastic. And I am playing Sasko. Sasko is bard-like. His picture has a lute, but he is really, really good with a concertina. which was really annoying. People don't really like the sound of it very much, but he's a pretty good storyteller. He's also grown up around kitchens and occasionally works for Myrtle, who's matron at the ale house in our village. He's a pretty good cook, and so he actually has he's an alchemist, so he can brew elixirs. His grandmother was an elf, so he is 1/4 elf, and he was for summers sent to an elven village to hang out with grandma, and there learn some of their tricks in terms of making these elixirs. He saw his grandmother make a cure-all, but doesn't know the secret ingredient. So he has vowed to find the secret ingredient to grandma's cure-all. And that's Sasko. We had decided that there was something interesting in a nearby sea cave.
Wasn't it your character's mum said there's one of them iron pillars popped up?
Yes,
And we thought there's also like a shipwreck from grandfather's time or something, unless I'm misremembering all of this.
Yeah, that sounds great. So there might be there's rumored to be a iron or a metal pillar. Can you like to have recollection of what these metal pillars are, why they're here? I don't think we had a reason, but that was part of our world definition, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it says like inscrutable metal pillars are found throughout the land. They are iron grey, smooth as river stone. No one knows their purpose. Some say they're as old as the world. Some, such as the Iron Priest, worship them and swear vows upon them. Most make a warding sign and hurry along their way. So there's a bit of mystery around these things. Oh, and you can't damage them.
So my mom believes there's a pillar in the cave. Is that right? What might be drawing your characters in here? Joel, what do you think Nadira is looking for in this cave? What do you think might be drawing her in?
I think it's definitely the supplies in the rumored shipwreck.
Yes.
There might be some stuff that you can bring back to her village and help, like medicine, weapons for defending themselves, stuff like that.
Right. This was a shipwreck, maybe of a ship that originally brought the Ironlanders here. And it's long been rumored to be there, but no one's ever explored or we don't think anyone's ever explored the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Josh, what do you think is drawing Henian in?
Yeah, I think that also more of the ship half of the party. I think that Kenyon believes that there are carved idols from the first ship still on there, which would be invaluable to return to the house of something, the Hall of Nakoon.
So Nakoon is, let's call it sort of an old world god. The Ironlanders brought Nakoon with them.
Yes.
And Bethany, why do you think Torin is interested in going into these caves?
So I think some of the ships, all of the ships carried a lot of stuff because, starting a new life from scratch on a different continent, you need a lot of stuff. But I think it's rumored that some of the ships wrecked, near shore, and they never retrieved the supplies from them. So there could be who knows what washed up into these caves. Maybe, maybe it's all destroyed by the, 2 generations of seawater, but, maybe there's useful and or valuable stuff left. And so.
Is Tor the kind of person who's sort of looking for a quick fix to his problem?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if like maybe we strike it rich and I don't have to worry so much about grandpa anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then I could just do what I want. Problem is solved. Yes.
I'll get rid of this ghost.
That is. Yeah, now I just got to get rid of the ghost.
Yeah. And Blake, what do you think is drawing Keenan in?
He's got to provide for his family, but also sort of keep the region clear of marauding monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a practical guy. It's just, yeah,
I wonder if part of what's driving this mission now is maybe the waters have receded a bit for the first time in a couple of decades. So there's a real opportunity here for us, but also that receding water brings out some dangerous creatures, which would sort of play into like what you're saying about Keenan is, there's marauding monsters and they're here now as opposed to last year because all of a sudden the waters have receded a bit.
Yeah.
Is this a journey? Do we need to get here? Are we already here? Are we starting at the beginning?
I thought we were already here and we're just
We're
about
here.
to go going in already. We could do the journey move after this one or whatever.
I like that. Or even once we're in there. Who knows how big this cave is? So what does this cave look like? I'm trying to sort of picture, waters have receded. Are we on a beach? Are we on cliffs? Are we like entering some shallows? Just got some ideas as to what this thing looks like.
Yeah.
I think like where the tide has gone out, there's this like wet, slippery rock.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, I think that they're like the cliff face. There's a very steep cliff face along this sort of side, and there is like a windy little path down the side of the cliff face that you can take, and the bottom like 10 yards are still like wet from the outgoing tide.
Yeah.
And you can see this sort of marshy opening in the bottom of the cave wall where it extends out.
Picturing like it's not a small cave, it's actually quite tall, but it was largely covered over by water. And as we're making our way down this path, with the water having receded, things are not just wet, but they're slippery, right? It's got kind of gunk is really the only word that I know. So it's sort of, I guess not mossy stuff, but, plant life growing on the rocks. So it's kind of slippery on the way down.
And I think if anything, like people have tried to, dive into this to like get to that shipwreck before. So there might be some skeletons with, like air bladders that were punctured, stuff like that of previous treasure hunters that have like failed before us.
how does Nadir is probably seeing dead bodies.
Mhm.
How's she feeling about seeing these skeletons? Is this sort of like not a big deal?
Um, yeah, I think it's a little uneasy. Like she's not too um, freaked out by it. Probably like uses her foot to kind of like push him off one of the higher rocks to like over the edge, so she doesn't have to look at them.
Nice. I'm pretty sure Sasko is freaked out by the skeletons. Like this is not his usual fare. You know, the closest he gets to violence is a bar brawl, and usually he steers clear of those and provides musical accompaniment or throws food as part of it. So this is starting to make him a little nervous. Who might comfort me?
I'll do it. I'll say, it's not the dead things here we need to worry about. You'll be fine. We know what we're doing.
But something killed those, and
It's
I don't-
probably long gone and far out to sea.
so you think there's nothing bad waiting for us in that cave?
Oh, there might be, but we can take care of it. We know what we're doing. Nakuna's with us, I'll say, looking at
Yeah.
Hennian.
Hennian nods. He's a little bit grimmer. I think there's one corpse sort of leaning against, like propped against a wall that it looks a little bit fresher than the rest. And he prods it. I say fresh. It has clearly been there for some time. And he prods it, and some water spills out of the mouth. He goes, "I think this one drowned. So nothing to worry about if you can swim."
I don't know if Sasko can swim or not. Guess we'll play to find out. Anything else we want to say about the entrance? That was pretty creepy. What do we hear? What do we hear coming from inside this cave? Like what sounds? Is it totally silent? Is it just watery sounds? Are there animal sounds or creature sounds coming out?
I think that you can hear the water lapping against the cave, going deeper and deeper, echoes really loudly out the mouth, with this sort of like eerie, keening noise. It sounds very ghostly, when you stand there in the mouth of the cave, even if you can't really pick out any like human voices.
Because Sasko's nervous, he starts trying to play his concertina to try and figure out what note that keening sound is. So he's sort of like playing different notes. Like, is it A sharp? Doing one of those things. Maybe getting on some folks' nerves as I'm playing this concertina.
I think I will say maybe not that now. If there are living things in there, we don't want to let them know we're coming.
Too late for that.
I kind of squish it closed, like, "Wah," and I put it in my little holder that I have. We're walking into the cave. Is this like are we in ankle deep water? Is there a slope up to get us into maybe a dry spot? What do we think?
Yeah, I think it like slopes up from like ankle deep water, and then there's just like a bit more of a steep drop off, so we can't really see what's ahead of us too well.
Okay.
It's more or less just like the great unknown as we hear that keening constantly.
I am creeped out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Who's providing light for us? What is that? Do we need light, or is it already lit in here?
I think it's partially lit. It
Yeah.
is cave. So I don't know. Can I add some torches?
Until they get wet. Yeah, I think we're close enough to the mouth that you can still see pretty well, from just the sunlight streaming in. But I think also the cave narrows a little bit in such a way that it cuts off a lot of the light as it goes in.
And maybe
So,
twist. Yeah.
Yeah.
eventually we will certainly need torches, but we are intrepid adventurers. I'm sure that we have some lanterns or some such.
I think there's like maybe some like too far apart to really, make it easily visible in here, but there's like eroded, little sinkholes and areas where you can see the outside. You can see a little bit of sunlight coming through, but all it really does is like screw up your night vision.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine a common problem with like having torches too is like water's constantly dripping down and almost putting out the torches.
Yeah.
So like again, screwing up the night vision and just causing a lot of like flickering and shadows on the sea cave walls of like stuff that may or may not be there.
I love describing cave walls. I think I do that in every game I play, even if we're not in the cave. So what do we I guess let me call on someone. I wonder if Henian, do you see any symbols or any sign of civilization on these caves, or is it completely wild?
Yeah, well, I think that what we see a lot in the caves, I think you see a little bit higher up in the caves, on like a ledge that it looks like it's eroded a little bit, but once clearly people were walking up there. You can see carvings that are that are old world carvings, almost, very. They look a lot like the stuff that you see in the longhouse, chiseled into the stone.
Love it. It's very metaphoric too. It's like just out of reach. Like we can't really quite see it or be near it. We're like getting further and further away from what we know to be civilization.
Yeah. Do you think that we might be delving the depths, everyone?
Is that a move?
That is a move.
I forgot about moves.
Yeah, I think that you kind of have to feed the move machine for Ironsworn, is my understanding.
I mean, we can't just like wax poetic about sea cave walls for a few
we
hours.
could. We definitely could, but then we might just be playing, free Kriegspiel.
That is normally how I play. We get to the last 15 minutes and I'm like, maybe we should roll some dice. All right, so when you traverse an area within a perilous site, envision your surroundings. I think we've done that. Then consider your approach. If you navigate this area with haste, with stealth, or trickery, with observation, intuition, or expertise, roll blah. And then we, on a strong hit, we delve deeper. We can mark progress and find an opportunity. On a weak hit, we can roll on the following table according to the stat. On a miss, reveal a danger. I don't have a good sense. Maybe one of you do. Since we're all doing this, do we pick one person to be the leader here to do the role?
Yeah, we can just take turns of sort of who's on point for a situation. I'll be the guinea pig and volunteer to go up front first if you like.
That sounds great. Yeah, I sense that of all of us, probably Keenan.
I need to die the most.
I think you are best prepared, with maybe Nadira Uh,
Well,
probably
second.
pulling up the rear or going second, like, and the rest of us jokers.
Well, yeah, we'll hug the mammoth by and promise we'll see him again.
Yeah. Is the
The mammoth is on top of the bluff.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mammoth stay behind. Yeah.
He's going to rappel
The
down.
mammoth could not traverse the cliff staircase. No.
Yeah.
That is a
We did leave a
downside.
rope tied to him, right? So
Yeah.
he can just have him pull us up when we
Yeah, Bosch too. No.
He's like counter-terrorism. They run down the building on the rope. He's awesome.
Bosch barely wanted to leave the house. So all right. Do we have a dice roller?
Excellent question.
Question.
Anyone want to create a dice roller?
And some of the oracles that had dice rollers.
It's kind of.
I've got a what is it called? Roll with me set up.
Yep, that'll do.
Roll. Now you're rolling a d. So are you rolling with? Are you delving with haste, with stealth, or with observation, intuition, and expertise?
The latter.
I love it. So you're rolling plus wits. My understanding is rolling 2d10 and a d6, and you're
Three. Okay, cool.
adding your wits to that d6.
So. So. Okay, so
Oh, nice.
now I want the 6 to be higher than the dice. Unfortunately, I rolled high on the d10s. So that's a miss. I stuffed it up.
That is a fair assessment of what happened. My understanding is when you roll doubles on the d,
Yeah, something weird, something unexpected happens as
there's a
well. But
twist.
so
Yeah.
I failed and
Wait, did
something
you-
unexpected happened.
did you roll a d6 at all?
Yeah, I did that first and got a total of 6.
Oh,
and
okay. I see.
That's the number I want to get under on the d10s, and I didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
So bring it on. Let's see what this system can do to me. I've got an idea for another character anyway. That's all right. I'll be the mammoth.
That would be pretty awesome.
What?
Hang on, I gotta print out the Delve card. So on a miss, we just reveal a danger, which I assume is on.
I do have the delve cards here too. If you
Say that one more time, Joel.
I have the delve cards.
Oh, okay.
Here, so if you need me to.
Yeah, so we're in a wild sea cave. So when you revealing a danger, I assume like you're gonna roll another a D100 to determine the dangers.
Uh, 64.
So you face an environmental or architectural hazard.
So maybe I slip and fall down a tunnel, or
Josh, can I ask, where did you find that?
That's on 34. Is the reveal a danger move.
Oh, I see. There it is. I thought it was something that we get from the cards.
No.
not dead yet.
It can tell you to check the cards, but so an environmental or architectural hazard.
I mean, do we go with the classic? There's a chasm.
Well, yeah, I already failed, so I thought maybe I'd slip down into a grotto or something.
Well, it just simply says reveal a danger. Nothing
Okay.
bad happens to you.
All
The
right.
truth is that we are not marking any progress. Like that's the
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
thing that happened to us, is that we
All
are
right.
haven't made any progress.
So I'm guessing we look at the chasm or whatever we got to jump and try and see who wants to do secure an advantage or whatever to try and get
That's-
over that thing.
Yeah, I just threw out the idea of chasm, but that is pretty cliche. Does anyone have any other ideas for an environmental hazard that we might face?
Chasm makes sense. What about I don't know, maybe this area, you know, the way that the water has dried has only like half dried in this area, and all of a sudden there's like, you know, 4 foot deep mud that, you know, you start sinking into.
I like that. That's cool. Other ideas?
All I could think
I
of
mean,
was
I-
like sharp rocks at the bottom of the chasm to just like follow the trope more.
I was thinking the chasm would be full of water, but I like this 4 foot deep mud idea.
Yeah, I kind of like the mud. Like we're kind of now slogging through, and that explains our lack of progress. We're like, you know, chest deep in this mud, and really trying to push our way through. I'm holding my concertina over my head. You don't want to get mud in that thing.
Yeah, it's like every step, it's you know, you have to like pull yourself out.
But do we have to roll to get out of this, or do we just say we get through it and then roll
Good
again to see?
question. How does that work?
I don't know. I'm gonna look through some moves. I mean, there's the what's it called? Ironsworn has the face of danger when you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat.
Which seems like probably what we are doing.
Yes.
Because we are currently in the risk, which is that we might get stuck in this mud,
Possibly sink down deeper.
possibly sink down deeper.
But
Yeah.
does someone else want to roll that? Maybe someone else has gotten a bit further ahead while I'm checking on.
Maybe one of us is coaching the others. Like I've dealt with this before, or I understand how this works.
Yeah, I think Henian, being widely read as an emissary of Nakun, as and also he's, you know, sort of behind the rest of you. So I think that you all start to, you know, sort of sink into this sudden drop into this, you know, very muddy area. And Henian is still a little bit on the shore. You know, he's only 6 inches into the mud. And he says, you know, stay calm, everyone. When you know, when the great raider was caught in sinking sand, it was when he struggled that he sunk the hardest, and eventually it entered his lungs and he drowned there.
I say, that's not helping.
Just move slowly, all right? Try to gain purchase. Move slowly. Don't struggle. Don't kick.
We can't move any other way.
This is sounding more like secure an advantage than face danger to me, because
Oh, I like
you know
that.
he's using
Yeah, I
expertise
think so,
and
that's
he's thinking about what he's doing rather than just reacting, which is cool. But
That's smart.
so we get Josh to roll that instead.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea.
So wits. What is my wits? My wits is 2. Okay, trying to beat a 3, which is not great. So that is a mixed success.
Yeah, nice.
On
Or a weak hit, as they say in this game.
a mixed success. On a weak hit, the advantage is short-lived. Take +1 momentum. So
Right about that.
+1 on the next thing we do, if you choose.
It doesn't have to be the next thing we do, does
Yeah,
it?
or whatever you choose. It stays.
Like
It's stacked.
momentum. Yeah, you can like build up momentum.
I assume that's just Josh who gets the momentum since you did the roll. But we're sort of all dealing with the consequences. What do we think?
Oh,
I think that's the way it works.
yeah. That makes sense.
So what does this advantage look like? Josh.
I mean, it looks Hennian shares his codex knowledge of when the Great Raider sunk and drowned in the sands.
Okay.
No one listens much, but Hennian listens. It's very inspirational to him, so he gets a little bit of momentum.
I think you've also maybe taken our minds off of it, just listening to you. Because it says, what does it say? Or you face a danger or complication. I could possibly see us sort of emerging from this mud, only to have an encounter on the other side. Like, hey, we made it. Oh, there's whatever here. Does that sound right to you all?
Yeah. Like while we're trying to like knock the mud off because it's heavy, we're not paying attention to whatever is coming out.
Yeah, something heard us try and slog through all that mud.
Well, we weren't using stealth.
What do we think? What's waiting for us as we emerge from the mud?
What's here?
Should we do a D100 to see what denizen that we had kind of established is out there?
Sure. Actually, yeah, I love that. Blake, you had done some prep here. You want to just give us a quick overview of what you had in mind?
Oh, yeah, it was just some ideas
the
based on
delve
what we
info?
did, but because we made up those creatures,
Right.
because this is just mud, so I don't think it's going to be like the octopus or the fangfish, but
No.
it could be any of the other stuff. Maybe the noise attracted the albatross.
The aggro albatross. Let's do it. Should we do some fighting?
Yeah.
Let's fight and then we'll take a break. Does that sound okay?
I gather there's like a quick version, which is battle, what's just a summary, and then there's a sort of in-depth version where you do entering and leaving and all that.
Raise your hand if you want to do the quick version of battle of fighting. Raise your hand if you want to do the
Yeah, let's do maybe do the long version at some point just to see what it's like, but we're still kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, I've just been playing a lot of vignette-based games, so we do one roll and then we just narrate a whole bunch of stuff on top of it. So I'd say we do one roll and then we kind of describe how this fight goes. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Mhm.
Who fights the albatross?
Let's see. Battle. When you fight a battle and it happens in a blur, envision your objective and roll. If you primarily fight in, I'm kind of curious. Maybe we each make this roll.
I think it's a flock of
Yes,
Negro albatross.
or a big one.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So let's go around and each say what our objective. We're emerging from the mud. Besides beating the albatross and moving on, I wonder if we have some nuance there. My objective as a bard slash cook is to prove that I am useful in other areas, right? I took that you can put your concertina away comment to heart, and now I'm going to use my sling to show all of you that I'm not just a performer. That's my objective. Joel, what do you think Nadira's objective is here?
I think Nadira's all about like moving around unseen and like, you know, being stealthy, and all that mud definitely leaves tracks. So I think like once she gets out of the mud before she sees the albatross, she's like swapping out her shoes for the dancer shoes that she has in her pack, and is kind of like caught off guard a little bit.
Okay. And so your objective is?
Basically to like clean off the mud, so that like when she's stealthing around, she's not leaving any tracks.
All right. While you're fighting this albatross. Love it.
Yeah.
I if anyone can do it, Nadira can do it, I believe. Josh, what is Henian's objective here?
Yeah, I think Henian is looking for the albatross's nest.
Love it. And Blake, what do you think Keenan's up to?
Trying to kill as many as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. All right. So we'll each roll when you've so there's options. Do you want me to read them out, or do you have the move in front of you?
I do have the move in front of me.
We also have it's under combat moves, and we're doing the battle, which is the last. So you can fight at range, depending on your courage, close to overpower your opponents, trickery, or careful tactics. Put those options in the chat. I will roll first. I'm going to roll at range. So that is because I'm using my sling. So that is edge, which is 2. So I like the way, Blake, you did this. You rolled the D6 first. Oh, I rolled a 6, and then I rolled 2d10. And I got a weak hit. So I'm gonna have to roll pay the price. Joel, you want to roll now for Nadira?
Yeah. I think Nadira uses, where did it just go? Trickery to befuddle her opponent. So maybe like kicks off her muddy shoes and like kicks them across the room to distract the albatross, and then, you know, lunges in.
Perfect.
So that is, so my roll is a 7. Let's see. So that is a strong hit for me.
Nice.
So I achieve my objective unconditionally. Take 2 momentum. Thanks.
I bet you looked so good doing this.
I'm sure there's like artful flips and like slides underneath the albatross and all that stuff. Very cool. Very cool.
Let's do our rolls, and then we'll narrate kind of
Mhm.
how it all looked. So, Josh, you're next.
Yes. I am depending on my allies, my companions. We are all as one fighting this aggro albatross.
Yep.
And together we can beat this thing. So let's see. That is an 8 and a 2 that I have to get past. And that is a 7, so mixed weak hit. So I pay the price.
Yeah. Bethany, Torrens up.
Yeah, I think I am depending on my courage here. Because I mean these are huge flying angry things. It takes a certain amount of courage to just charge into the middle of this flock of angry flying things and start stabbing with a spear. Okay, we'll do 6 first. It's a 7. And then 2d10s.
Nice.
Ooh, all right.
Can't wait to hear that one. And Keenan, you're up.
Yes, I'm just firing rapidly into above everybody's heads, just except for where Nadira's flipping around. Firing with edge. So yep, hang on. D6 first. Let's get that right. 3. That doesn't bode well. Okay. Bam, total failure. Winning. Sorry, there's too many. I think there's birds in my face, and I'm nearly slipping on the rocks, and yet. So I think 3 of us have to pay the price, or hang on, I might be worse.
Yeah, so your objective.
Yeah, I pay the price.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will all pay the price.
Yep.
Why don't you narrate first? We'll just go back around. So why don't you narrate? What does this look like?
There were birds flying in my face, and I nearly slipped over the rocks, so the shots are going way sort of half straight up instead of down where the birds are. And yeah, I didn't hit any of them. This is not a prosperous start.
So in pay the price, you can just decide what the negative outcome is. We can ask the Oracle to kind of.
Let's roll.
Or you can roll a D100.
46 or so. Yeah. A new oh shit. A new danger or foe is revealed.
Love it.
I'm thinking I slipped in there like a tunnel down or a grotto or a pit or something.
That's cool. I like it.
So I guess that would be, yeah, what do you call it? Face danger in a minute after you got this done.
Yeah. Yep. Torin, what is your strong? You had a strong success, right?
Yeah. I think Torin just charges into this flock of albatrosses, like yelling and trying to look big and swinging his spear everywhere. It's not precise at all. It's just like loud, and he's trying to be intimidating. I think more than trying to accurately stab one of these things. But apparently he gets in a good hit anyway.
Nice. What was your objective again? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think I said. What is my oh, you know what? The feathers from these things are super useful for like arrows, and they're used in a lot of as like a raw material for a weirdly large number of things, but arrows is kind of the big one. So I want to get a bunch of feathers.
I love it. That's a great idea. Henny, and you had a weak hit, right? Josh, you had a weak hit.
Yes, sorry.
You want to narrate that for us?
Yeah, I think that something of value is lost or destroyed as I go traipsing deeper into the sea cave, suddenly Hennian hits a patch of mud, and he trips and he tumbles, and his holy writ is ruined. It's soaked through with silt, unreadable.
Wow.
A bad omen.
Since Keenan got a miss and there were at least 2 weak hits, do we want to split the party? It's part of the problem that we got split up. Or do we want to not go there just yet? Because I'm wondering if maybe, as we switch back and forth between the groups, the other players can act as sort of GMs for that. It's one idea. Or we just stick together. We can think about it. So Hennian, you narrated your weak hit. Nadira, we are up to you. You got a strong hit, right?
Yeah, all flourishes. I think like Nadira, because her goal was to like get all the mud off of her in case she has to like sneak around. She won't leave checks. So I think she kind of like flips on her hands and does like a twirl, and her like shoes flap and like mud flies off and just like smacks albatrosses in the face with like mud, and they kind of divert off. And then she has a bunch of daggers, so she's just this like frenetic twirling ball of like limbs, and like daggers are flying out. Maybe picks up one of Keenan's arrows that he dropped and like throws that right back out, and just like chop.
That's awesome. I mean, I think, and also I imagine Toran was as they were sort of hitting the birds with their staff, it was almost like they were teeing them up for you.
Mm-hmm.
There was sort of this kind of teamwork thing going where Toran would kind of smack it, set it, and you would spike it.
Yep.
You also get +2 momentum for your strong hit. Sasko was successful with his weak hit. So at least one of you saw me not completely freaking out or running and hiding. And I was flapping a couple of these birds with my sling. And I think one in particular I knocked out just as it was about to kind of come up behind you, Nadira. So it was like my timing was good enough where you noticed, oh, okay, so maybe this guy is pretty useful to have around. I'm also going to roll on the pay the price table because that seems very exciting. And I rolled a 66. It is tiring or harmful. I think I'm tired because I don't usually exert myself quite in that way. And I think you're gonna all have to put up with me whining a little bit. I have maybe some personal experience of listening to people complain on long trips. So I will channel that experience, and he will be a bit of a whiner.
Are we there yet?
Yes. How much longer? Where is this shipwreck? It is tiring. All right, friends, we are at 8 past the hour. Why don't we take, should we just make it even 12 minutes? Would that be all right? So come back at 20 past the hour. Sound good? Cool. I'll see you in 12.
Okay.
Thank you, Zoom lady. Blake, Keenan had rolled pay the price, and that a new danger or foe is revealed.
Yeah, so I was thinking I nearly slipped down a grotto or something and do face danger because I'm not prepared for it. It's just.
Oh, I like it. All right, go for it.
I guess it would be speed because I can't outcharm falling into a pit. So edge to.
Depends on the nature of the pit.
4. I think it's equal or less, so I think that's a weak hit.
All right. That's how I read it. Yep.
I'm gonna say hurt. So let's go 1 harm. So I'll get smacked around as I fall into this grotto. Wounded. Yeah.
Are you envisioning yourself sort of like trapped at the bottom of a pit that we need to figure
Not so much
out?
trapped, but I'm down there. I'm gonna need a hand up when I'm bruised and health. Sit down 1. And I'm not wounded. So I'm shaken and I've got a wound sort of thing because I bumped my head as I fell down the dark pit and little help.
I call down. What's it like down there?
Dark, cold, bumpy.
Is there any evidence of the shipwreck?
Something I can roll for that, or do I just decide? Or
I mean, we could roll a delve the depths. Like we've made a bit of progress. See if we're out of this area.
sure.
That's you again, Keenan.
So I'm just trying to find where's Delve the Depths. I'm not sure it's on.
It's in the delve. May not be. Do we have delve moves here?
I don't think that the delve moves are on this.
Yeah. So basically, when you traverse an area within a perilous site, envision your surroundings.
Yep.
Then consider your approach. You can roll with edge, shadow, or wits. Basically, you're rolling with haste, with stealth, and I suspect it's this one with observation, intuition, or expertise. So you would roll with wits.
Yeah, I'll go with wits then. Okay. So stuff this one up 5. Okay, that's good. Good start. Again, weak hit.
Nice.
Okay.
So then you're going to roll a D100, and that will tell us what we do.
So that would be 2.
Nice. So we mark progress. Congratulations, team. And reveal a danger. So, Keenan, I'm going to ask you to roll another D100. There's a green button at the top that is an actual D100. If you want to or that. 21.
21, yeah.
Now we go here. Weather or environmental threat. So hang on. Gosh, this game is a lot of bookkeeping. Let me first mark our progress. So because we are in dangerous and we are marking progress, we're going to mark 2 progress. And now we have revealed a weather or environmental threat. Keenan, do you want to envision what that is, or?
Does it have to be like immediate? Because I'm wondering if I can hear the tide coming back in.
I love that. I think that's cool. Anyone have any other ideas? Like there's something about where you've kind of landed now where it's like we're all kind of yelling down to you. Do you need help getting out? And you're like, shh, shh. You can hear the tide.
I think that we have also reached a new area, technically, which is probably wherever Keenan has just landed up.
Yes.
So we can use the oracles for that. We want to be fancy.
I don't know what that means, but let's do it.
Neither do I really. But we'll figure something out. Oracles. Well, this is a sea cave. So what are the sea cave things?
That's a good question.
Scrolling through this PDF.
It could be a flooded chamber, like maybe the tide coming back, water starting to kind of fill the chamber. that
Some
you're in.
ideas under Delve info, but yeah, they're just ideas.
Okay, does someone, I found it. Does someone want to roll a D100 for features?
You want to do it,
11.
Bethany?
Okay. It starts at 21, so I don't know what we do with an 11.
Well, I think we go to the wild card.
So
Okay.
that would
So an
be
11 is impressive flora or fauna. I wonder if our new area, and again, this is classic Dan, is we are in a cave that is entirely lined, carpeted with fungus and mushrooms and things like that.
Yes. I think that's very, very, very cool.
It's impressive. Very cool. Yeah.
And that they are, maybe some are glowing, so we're like, we start to put out our torches, thank goodness, because they were pretty useless. But I don't know if Madeira, you recognize any of these fungi as potentially harmful as an herbalist. As an alchemist, I am definitely recognizing some of these as ingredients for the more nefarious elixirs that I might put together.
yeah. I think like if anything, maybe someone goes to like grab one and eat it, and Nadira just kind of like slowly puts her hand on theirs and is like, no, not that one.
There's a resupply move. Would that sort of count for people trying to get stuff for cooking, or?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like maybe between Nadira and Sasko, they kind of like pick through the poisonous ones and find the actual edible mushrooms.
I would like to each make a roll if you're okay with that, Nadira.
That works for me.
Go for it.
Okay, so
Is either resupply move?
hunt, forage, or scavenge, wits. Yeah, I have great wits. 2. Okay, so okay, so it was a 8 and a 9 on the D10s, and then a 4 total on the D6. So that is a week. Miss, you find nothing helpful and must pay the price. Okay.
Wait, that's a miss.
Yeah, or yeah, on a on a full miss, find nothing
Right.
helpful.
You must
pay
pay.
the price. Okay.
That's exciting.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen. I'm gonna find or pay the prices on this PDF. Here we go. Okay, so D100. Oh, that's a high number. That's not good. A companion or ally is put in harm's way, or you are if alone. Does anyone have?
So did you like swear that this was one that you recognized and was edible?
I think so, yeah. Like
Is it like poison ivy or something? And you're starting to get sick.
I think it's like there's like fungus and stuff in there, and the deer is like picking out some of the ones that are fine, and like, oh yeah, this is a good one. It tastes like, um,
Mushroom.
yeah, it tastes like mushroom, and then like pull another one, make this one kind of has like a bacony flavor. And then maybe grabs another one and is like, this one tastes like walnuts, and hands it to someone, and it is not the one that tastes like walnuts. Like it's
I will totally volunteer to eat this probably hallucinogenic mushroom.
Thank you for jumping on that grenade. Yeah, so I think Nadira like hands it to Torin as kind of like a thank you for teeing up all those albatross in the fight earlier. And bad stuff happens.
Torin, while you're maybe looking for a move to deal with that, I'm gonna roll my resupply. So I'm trying to beat a 7 and a 9. Great. And my wits is 2. So this feels actually impossible, but let's see. And I rolled a 6. So I also did something terrible. I'm going to pay the price as well. I rolled a 75. A surprising development complicates our quest. I had an idea. Let me know if you all are okay with this idea. But as I'm picking mushrooms, I release the spores. And maybe we all get a little loopy and end up wandering deeper and deeper into this place so that we are effectively lost and we don't
and off our face. This sounds great.
And not, yeah, I mean, let me just check lines and veils for hallucinogenics, but I don't see anything there. Everyone okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
So I'm gonna just take a moment. I think the mushrooms kind of lead us to the big mushroom in the middle, and this thing is sort of it looks like maybe a giant shiitake mushroom. It's just sort of got this really kind of elaborate fuzzy stem, kind of this graceful cap on it, and it just sort of constantly kind of shakes out the spores. But as we get closer to it, we're still a little out of our minds. But if we weren't, we would see that maybe other people have been here and have been integrated into this giant mushroom. Does that sound okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're on the verge of face danger, unless anyone wants to do anything else.
And the only move I could find that came close to like reacting from getting high off of mushrooms was maybe test your spirit when you face mental stress or resolve, like if you have a bad trip.
That sounds fun. Let's see if I can find that.
If you're on the PDF, it's page 5. The moves PDF, I should say.
Test your spirit. Nice. Though, Bethany, do you want to resolve your consuming of a mushroom? Maybe it makes
yeah. I was thinking, wait, was it test your spirit? That might have been the one I was thinking made sense too. Well, okay, wait. Is that the same as endure stress?
There's an endure harm, which is physical harm. And test your spirit is mental stress.
Okay. Hmm. Where is that?
What are you looking for?
I test your spirit. No.
Oh, that's weird. I see it under suffer moves on the PDF that I have, but it's not in the
Okay, I think it is the same as endure
your
stress.
stress. Yes, you're right. It looks like it's
Yeah, it's just, I guess they changed the name of it at some point. Okay, cool, because it's like, so it sounds like the same move. Roll heart or spirit, whichever is higher. Okay, first, suffer minus spirit equal to your foe's rank or as appropriate to the situation. Our foe doesn't really have a rank, does it? Is there a reference as to what would be appropriate for the situation?
no idea. I'm totally okay with you knocking it down by 1.
Yeah, let's try that. Just yeah, that seems about right. Like if it's 5, if the scale is only 0 to 5, then 1 seems probably right. Cool. And then roll plus heart or plus spirit, whichever is higher. Okay.
Question is, were
Which is
we meant to
higher?
start at a spirit of
Yeah, that's a good question. Are we supposed to start it?
yeah, set your spirit
5?
track to 5. Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, all right. In that case, it's higher. So it's plus 4. I have too many tabs. Okay, 7.
Wow.
Close those.
You did it.
Okay, cool. What does that mean? What did I do? That's what is the result of that? Suffer moves.
Shake it off. If your spirit is greater than 0, suffer -1 momentum in exchange for +1 spirit, or embrace the darkness, take +1 momentum.
I mean, I'm hallucinating something. I think embrace the darkness is probably right.
Yep.
I'm probably hallucinating the ship. Like I keep seeing it out of the corner of
Right.
my eye and like,
Yes.
oh, it's that way, it's that way, it's that way. And I'm like
Yeah.
wandering off.
All right. So what do we want to do about this giant mushroom?
Well, because we're off our face, we don't even realize it's a danger, do we?
I guess not.
Can we look around the area? So it'd just be like gather information.
Yeah.
Just sort of have a look around the cave and
Yeah,
see what we can find, because we are here to find treasure, hopefully.
that would be gather information.
Yeah. So, which? Oh, so 7. So weak hit.
The information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger.
Oh God.
I'm just gonna call a moratorium on more dangers. Envision what you discover and take +1 momentum.
Well, we've got plus one momentum, so I'm thinking maybe it is part of the shipwreck. We think it is this in this direction. We are going the right way.
Oh, like we see a piece of the shipwreck.
Yeah, like it might be the what do you call it, the crow's nest from the top of the mast or something. It
Yeah.
smashed here on the way in.
Yeah, though the mushrooms have kind of overwhelmed it a little bit, so it really took some doing to kind of find it. But I like that a lot. I think, how do we want to handle this? I'm open to suggestions here. Are we gonna, should we fight the giant mushroom? Should we just call it face danger, even though we don't realize we're in danger? Should we,
Yeah, I guess it's face danger, but not with wits.
yeah, we can ask the Oracle too, though I don't know exactly what that would look like. So maybe we think about how we're going to shake this off, or how we kind of, each of us kind of pulls to, and then we can each make a face danger move and just see where that takes us. I can go first. I think there are lots of tall, skinny mushrooms in here, and they remind me of the metal pillars. And that sort of maybe grounds me a little bit to remind me of my mother and her wish to understand the metal pillars a little bit more. And so I'm going to, in facing danger, what I'm going to do is try and head in the direction of the crow's nest that you pointed out to us, assuming that will get me away from this mushroom. Joel, you want to talk about what Nadir is up to?
Yeah, I think the way they kind of, sorry, I'm trying to think of like how they face danger with a giant mushroom that's trying to kill them.
Yeah, maybe something that's grounding her, or maybe something that's some distraction from a reverie. Maybe she's built up a immunity to iocane powder. Something.
Yeah, I think if anything, like as she's kind of like slowly stumbling towards this mushroom, she trips and falls and kind of like stubs her toe, and that rush of movement and that kind of like pain in her toe reminds her of, you know, dancing, of like being on, you know, the tips of her toes like ballet dancers do, kind of like jumping through the air and that sort of thing. And it kind of reminds her of Whispering Willows and like where her home is, and that kind of doesn't so much get rid of the hive, but kind of like helps her focus her mind a little bit more.
I love that. I think that's great. Cool. Josh, tell us about what Henian's up to.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at the moves. I think that Henian is just sort of stumbling further, you know, away from this sporing mushroom, you know, deeper into the cave, because that's the way he's going. And I think as, you know, he gets further away, hopefully, if I roll well, he might regain a little bit of his you know, as the spore cloud sort of dissipates into the distance, he might gain a little bit more of his sense back.
Yeah. I also wonder if maybe you've been sort of making marks in the walls along the way, and so to maybe help us try and keep track of where we are, so you catch sight of one of those.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Love it. Bethany, what's Torin doing?
Yes, I mean, Torin isn't any worse off than everybody else, at least. But I mean, he's equally bad. So I think he's still really fascinated by this ship that like he thought he saw out of the corner of his eye, and then he sees this crow's nest, and I think like just in his excitement of following the direction he was going, that like I don't see it anymore, but I swear it was there.
Right.
Like just runs like head first into this sort of low ceiling, just whacked right up in the forehead, and like kind of stands there looking dazed and slows down and is like very carefully trying to find his way around now. And like that, the reaction to that is the same as a smart reaction to seeing things from mushroom spores would be.
Right.
So like he's still seeing things, but he thinks he's just been knocked upside the head too hard.
Yeah, I love it.
And he knows like, okay, I know to like slow down and make sure of what I see if that happens.
Perfect. That sounds great. Blake, what is Keena doing?
He's following the horn one, which is like a mountain goat. His clan live up in the sort of forested hills, and yeah, they take this sort of stuff and go on like a rite of passage quest. So he's like, oh, this is familiar. The goat's with me. I'm going to follow the goat.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, obviously the goat knows the way to go to get to the shipwreck. So perfect. Blake, you want to roll first? So we're going to roll face danger. My suggestion is that we all roll with heart. Because that feels like, I mean, maybe iron. I could see iron being, endurance, and heart is courage. So we are definitely not using stealth or wits or shadow or wits or edge. That feels like a bit of a stretch.
A weak hit.
Which means you succeed, but encounter a minor complication or delay. Invigilant happens and suffer a -1 momentum, health, spirit, or supply as appropriate to the circumstances. So I will let you think about that, and we will come back around and do some narration. So Bethany, you want to roll for Torin, face danger. So you also
It's like a weak
got, that's a strong hit, right? Because you rolled a 3 and a 6. For the
is a tie
is a win.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, in that case, it's a strong hit.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than getting hit upside the head, really. So
yeah, that doesn't sound like a strong hit, but okay. I wasn't expecting to get a strong hit.
You will take +1 momentum. Josh, you want to roll for Henian?
Yes, I will do that. So beating a 5. Which I do not do. That is a categorical failure.
Yes.
So
You're gonna have to roll pay the price.
indeed I am.
Nadir, you want to roll your face danger?
Yeah. So I got a 6 on the action die, so that
Yep.
is a weak hit.
Which means you'll take -1 momentum, health, spirit, or supply.
Okay.
And Sasko, I'm gonna roll iron or heart. Let's see. Oh, I will roll with heart. I got a +3. So I got a 5 on my action die, which means I got a weak hit as well. So I'm gonna suffer spirit. We are largely successful. How do we want to play this? We are largely successful in facing this danger, with the exception of Hennian. Right, Hennian missed. So my thought is, we're successful, so we kind of make it out of the mushrooms. I wonder if Hennian, you've got kind of a lasting problem based on being exposed to the mushrooms. What do you think of that? Or does anyone have any other ideas?
Could they be wounded debility in the context of feeling sick?
Oh, it's not a bad idea. What do you think of that, Josh?
Yeah. That makes sense to me. Get some spores stuck in my nose. Give me a little bit of a queasy.
Yeah.
We all have to drag Henyon out.
Yeah.
Yes. So I will be wounded by, thematically. Get a little bit lost in the mushroom haze.
I have no idea what that does mechanically. Does anyone know what that means?
That's a great question. Let's look in the index that it'll say, I hope. W, wounded. That did not help.
As far as I can tell, it says when you are wounded, you cannot increase health. So if you rest overnight, your health doesn't go up until that wound is treated. It's got to be treated in some narrative sense.
Oh,
In this case, you would be giving a poultice or whatever to fix, get rid of the spores or whatever.
Sasko is very confident he can make an elixir to help you out. Very confident.
Okay.
I mean, he hit one of those birds, so he can make one. He can make a thing. So my suggestion is we narrate emerging from the mushroom cave. We roll delve the depths to see if we've made any progress in our journey. And then they have this major plot twist table, which I'm dying to roll on. So maybe we use that to kind of set us up for a cliffhanger.
Yeah, bring it on.
Does that sound all right
Mm-hmm.
to you all? It's a lot more rolling in this game than I'm used to. So Sasko sees, it starts to envision these metal pillars. When I approach it and I touch it and I realize it's soft and maybe has some human forms embedded in it, I realize this mushroom is no metal pillar. And that kind of wakes me up. In fact, maybe I start to hallucinate my mother's voice in my head. And that kind of makes me realize I'm not where I need to be. And I kind of stumble through the mushrooms towards the crow's nest, I'm imagining I kind of fall out through a hole in the cave into an area that's now more uh, uh, like it's sort of devoid of plant life, right? So it's very dry in here, and we've sort of left the mushrooms behind. And I'll let others kind of add on to what that room is. Nadira, you want to narrate your week hit?
Yeah. So I think Nadira, like, kind of like how we established, like, tripped and fell, and I decided to lose one supply. So I think like a lot of the edible mushrooms that she had been starting to collect, and maybe even some of her rations, like, spill out on the floor, and she doesn't even notice it. She's kind of hallucinating that she's back at a street dance at the Whispering Willows, and things like the human shaped mushrooms are like other dance partners and other like participants, and she just starts like kind of dancing around them more. But I think all that twirling is like the wind's blowing some of the spores off of her face, so she's starting to come down from her high, and I think like finally comes down as she twirls into the area that Sasko's at, that's devoid of plant life, and just kind of awkwardly stands there realizing she's just been like twirling through, a tunnel for like however many feet. Yeah, we've established that it's devoid of plant life. I think it is like there was plant life there at one point, but part of the ship had crashed there, and you just see these deep gouges and rakes across the walls that have like torn up root stems that are down here and like disturbed all the mushrooms and stuff, and it just hasn't grown back at all.
Love it. That's great. Very evocative. Josh?
Yeah.
How does Hennian make it through this? And what is sort of the lasting wound look like?
Yeah, Hennian makes it through, but he's clearly disoriented. Just very obviously. I think he's the last one through because he seems a little bit lightheaded. He's sort of leaning against the wall for support. And as the air clears, it helps a little bit. But there's something caught in his lungs or something that is making him a little bit winded. And he keeps coughing.
Nice.
As we move further into this, the grotto.
Is any part of does any of the hallucination linger out of the corner of his eye, or is it just going to be like a respiratory thing?
I think like shapes. No, he doesn't see like people,
Floaters. Yeah.
But yeah, there's some floaters.
Love it. And what is one detail you noticed about this room that we ended up in?
I think that it is not naturally formed. It has carved walls.
Perfect. That's so good. Totally surprising to us. Like we thought we were in a purely natural formed cave. That's great. Bethany, how does Torin emerge from mushroom hell?
Yeah, I think kind of staggers away, and then as he moves away from the mushrooms, things become a lot clearer. By the time he meets up with the others, he's seeing what's actually there, and which includes the like charred marks and like bits of wood from an old like cooking fire.
How old?
Who knows? It's
I
hard
mean-
to tell.
Is it still warm?
Oh, and no.
Okay, so long gone.
Yeah. It's it hasn't been burning anytime recent. Like it's not warm. There's no smoke in the air. But like at some point, someone tried to start a fire here.
Yeah.
And either there's a way for the smoke to escape, or they were really desperate for heat or light or fire.
That's great. I love it. Blake, take us home. How does Keenan emerge?
He's happily following the goat, and then he sort of comes through a small passage, and then he's like, "Oh, the goat's gone." He sort of looks back to where he came and looks back to where he's going, and oh, all right, maybe I need to do something here for the goat to come and speak to me again.
Perfect. Sasko is very interested in this, what you're saying about a goat. Like I could really use some meat now. Like I'm hungry. So I'm like, but tell me, where did you see this goat? I'm like really interested in that.
So yeah, the goat's like the patron of my clan. We don't eat it, we follow it. It guides us into better times and better life.
I mean, but who's gonna know, right? And it's just a goat down here. It's not like the patron.
It's just glaring at him like, I will know. And that anger helps him come out of being off his face, I think.
That's good. Our cliffhanger is that everyone is mad at Sasko. Blake, why don't you add a detail to this room that we're in?
But it's a man-made room, isn't it?
That's what we noticed, yeah. Where someone tried to start a fire.
I'm gonna say there is some spears, and like that. It's not metal. It's not metal tips. It's like coral reef tips. Someone broke off a bit of coral for like a sharp spear tip, and there's like 6 of them in the corner.
Oh, cool. That's great. Who would like to roll our delve the depths and see if this
Go on, Joel, get into it.
Yeah.
person is Janix actually allowed us to make any progress on this thing.
Let's see. I think the like getting through the cave, like twirling and stuff, not really looking where you're going, would make sense with like doing it with haste.
Yeah, love it.
So okay, so that is a 5 on my action die, so that and ties we win, so that is a strong hit.
You did it. Nice. We are gonna
Delver.
I'll mark our progress and then we find an opportunity. So that may give us the cliffhanger we were looking for. Actually, you know what I'll probably do is you roll on find an opportunity.
Okay.
And then I'll roll on the plot twist table and we can see how we can combine those suckers. If that's okay with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like I really want to roll on this thing.
So I rolled an 18. The terrain favors you, or you find a hidden path.
Oh, what does that look like?
I think kind of like we're all distracted by, the gouges in the wall, the weird like shift in the plant life, the fire, but then we kind of notice like the spears and they're almost pointing into a direction, and we realize like it's a man-made wall and room, and there's a very man-made like doorway leading down into a tunnel that maybe starts out very like smoothed edge man-made, but then starts to get more rocky and natural looking.
So I just rolled a 43 on the plot twist table, and it says you and an enemy share a common goal. My first thought And we can totally throw that away because I love the hidden passage. There's definitely something to explore down there. My first thought is when Nadira finds this hidden passage, she finds someone sleeping in there, another explorer, maybe the owner of these spears.
Mm,
And they are also we come to learn that they're also keen to find this shipwreck and get out. Thoughts, contributions, concerns?
A similar option could be the ghosts of former explorers.
And they need to be put to rest. I love that too.
It might be interesting to see how Kia deals with some other ghosts in town.
We forgot about Kia.
Yeah.
We need some more Kia in our life.
They need yeah. Let's see them interact with the other ghosts. That's cool. Okay.
I think I did miss a part of that find an opportunity move because it says like roll on the table, do all that stuff, and then choose one. Gain insight or prepare, take +1 momentum, or take action now. You and any allies may make a move, not a progress move, which directly leverages the opportunity. When you do, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So would it make sense that this is kind of like, in a cinematic sense, like we're squaring off against whatever these ghosts are, and you just have a moment to like prepare and make that move?
Yeah. I wonder if we use. I really liked what you were just saying, and that. Well, I was looking at the relationship moves to see if we take advantage of that momentum to compel the ghost. And we can do that roll now, or we can use that to kind of tee us up next time. How do you feel about it, Joel?
I think it would make sense to like tee it up next time. If anything, just make note on the character keeper that whoever does the move adds +1 and takes +1 momentum. And it's kind of I'm just thinking of it as like a TV show where it's like we encounter the bad thing, cliffhanger, and then like find out what happens next time.
Next time
Mhm.
on Delve to the Sea Caves. Friends, that was super fun. And I just want to, before we do stars and wishes, say thanks because I'm way outside of my comfort zone with this co-op game with all of these different moves and things. And so I just feel like we're making magic happen, and I really appreciate that. Blake, do you want to kick us off with stars and wishes?
Yeah, it's all good. It's kind of easy to envision the caves and what everyone's doing from it. We're kind of stumbling through, so it's not ta-da, we're the awesome heroes and we never get any gunk on our armor and we never get injured. Like, no, we're struggling through this thing. So it's a more gritty, realistic sort of fantasy, which is cool.
Cool.
Just,
wishes for next time?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting the hang of the rules, so I think it'll flow even better. So yeah, it's already going to happen, I think.
Bethany, you're up. Stars and wishes.
Sorry. I I like that we chose this delve, partly because it's an interesting setting, but also like this kind of slow, awkward progress is good for the slow, awkward progress of us learning the moves. Like it feels fitting, and also stars. What was it you who described the giant mushroom with the people embedded in it? That was awesomely creepy and unexpected. I expected mushrooms. I didn't expect people embedded in mushrooms.
I didn't know where it was going until I said it out loud. So, cool. I'm glad that
That was
worked.
very cool.
And wishes for next time?
Yeah, I mean, it's I pretty much with Blake here. I think I think it will run a lot smoother once we sort of get the hang of it, and that's pretty much my wish. So, yeah, I don't think it needs to be a wish.
Great, thanks. Josh, you're up. Stars and wishes.
Yeah, stars. I also really enjoyed this session. It's just interesting, delving into a totally improvised place, going where the dice take you,
Yeah.
Very, not ungauntlet, but certainly a different tack than a lot of the Gauntlet games you play. Just in the game, but I like it a lot. I'm enjoying having the chance to just sort of take it slow, take it at our own beginner's pace.
Yeah.
But sort of dig in and learn about these people and about this game and everything.
Cool.
Wishes, I mean, I would love to see forgot the name a second time. Kaya.
Yeah.
Come into play. I'd love to see our characters come into play. I think that we are all a little unfamiliar with the rules, so we can get a little bit concerned with them. Maybe at the expense of these beautiful characters that we've created.
Yeah.
So just trying to keep a balance between getting, all in the characters and forgetting all about the moves, and then watching the moves and forgetting about my character.
Yeah. It's a really good point. Like, again, there's a mechanical goal, which is to try and mark as much progress as we can. And that, I think you're right, is sort of distraction from, I kind of want to see how these characters interact with each other too. So, you said something, you said it's sort of ungauntlet-like, it's a different tack than most Gauntlet games. And I'm curious, was there one thing in particular that stood out that makes this feel ungauntlet-like? If you don't mind my asking you about that.
No, of course, well, for one, you're not rolling 2d6 every time.
That is weird. Yeah.
Which is weird. Well, it's crunchier than most of the stuff you do on the Gauntlet. It's one of the crunchier games I've played in the last couple of years. I've been on a softer kick.
Yeah.
I like rolling dice. What can I say?
Yeah.
You like a number every now and then.
Yeah. That's good. I wasn't sure what you meant, but I agree. Like, I've rolled more times in this game than I have in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, because one of the things that helped define our characters was choose 3 assets each, and we haven't really been using them a huge amount, and we might have to get into a kind of nitty-gritty combat to do like a ritual or a combat move or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, what do we choose them for?
Yeah.
And that's.
Yeah.
I noticed that
Sure.
that combat assets are only when you're not using that kind of quick battle move, when you're actually.
Yeah.
So let's do it next time. Let's see where that takes us. I believe, Joel, you're up for stars and wishes.
Yeah. Stars, I mean, everyone has just great characters that it's fun to interact with and play with everyone. And I think kind of like how people were talking, we're still learning the rules, and then even just the nature of the game of the rolling, the consultant tables and stuff. It takes a little longer to play, but it also feels much more relaxed and conversational, where even though we are in this creepy cave and there's this man-eating mushroom coming for us and stuff, it just feels nice and relaxed, and we're just spitballing ideas and having a lovely conversation.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a very nice relaxing game to play, where it's not as frenetic or tension, even though there is tension, if that makes sense. So it's fun to play, and it's fun to play with you guys. Wishes, I would say pretty much what people have echoed. Like, I think it would be fun to see some of the assets come into play and to see like what does it look like to be spirit bound for Torin, and to like have that little ghost, or see you make a concoction with your like alchemy asset, that sort of thing. And then just to use some of the different moves that we've had, like the more in-depth combat moves, which I could easily see take in a while, but would let us use some of those combat paths. And just kind of like more of the fringe moves and more of the game is kind of what I'm looking to see.
Thank you for that. I agree. I would love to. I want to say everyone should try and use one of their assets next time, and we should try and do the extended combat. I'm worried that it will be hard to do both of those things, but let's try.
What we could do is we'll go into extended combat. If we find it's too clunky and too long, then we can go, okay, now that we've done like a turn each, then we'll skip to battle mode and just get on with it.
Yeah, that's
We've always got that option.
Yeah, that's great. My aspiration was to wrap up this delve next time and start the next delve next time, because we do have 2 more sessions because of the way June works. So we do have 2 more sessions, which means maybe we could finish this and squeeze another one in. Does that feel okay to you all? Okay.
Yeah, I think the moves should go faster next time. So we should next time, which probably will make a big difference too.
Yeah. Stars. Again, thanks to everyone for just diving in and running with it. I'm really enjoying the story a lot, and I'm really enjoying everyone's contributions. And I really appreciate everyone's done a really good job of making their characters shine through. I agree with you, Josh, that it's sort of like this weird balance of like trying to figure out the mechanics, but I still am getting a reasonably good feel for the characters. The way I like to play, I would like to just 100% focus on the characters, but it's been good to play it out. I think everyone has really good imagination, so that when we're kind of painting a scene, I really just enjoyed that last little moment where we're just, what room do we land in? And we just started to, paint it up, and really kind of ended up in this really cool new area. My wishes, I think a lot of you covered my wishes. I'd love to try out some assets. I would love to see more character interaction. Like maybe we're starting to get a little annoyed with each other. Well, I mean, Sasko is very annoying, but I think everyone's starting to get maybe a little annoyed with each other because this is stressful and hard. So
we could do like a campfire chat on the way back, as we're on the way home or whatever, or even if.
Yeah. Of course, there's a move for that. I love the tables. I haven't played a lot of games where I like draw from tables, but I also feel like, I think one of you said this, they're like all over the place. So I feel like I'm checking cards here and checking PDFs here and checking my book here, and just not as concise as I would like it to be.
They are. That's a very Ungauntlet-like thing there, all the tables.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a shame. I have so many books over on that shelf, chock full of tables.
So many tables.
So many tables. It's good. I like using them.
I like knowing that they're there.
I like knowing that they're there. I don't use them often, but
I'm playing Godbound next month, and that book has a lot of tables. All right, friends, would it be okay if I posted this to my YouTube channel so that my mom can watch it? Yep. Fantastic. Thank you. I had a really good time, and I will see you all next week.
See you next week.
Everybody.